Good afternoon, everyone. So this is going to be a two-part presentation. Before community development jumps in and talks about the buffering, economic development is going to talk briefly about an industry overview of the last year. So we have some data from Cannabis Control Division, and then some information that my staff went out and gathered speaking with local cannabis businesses in Las Cruces. So ED staff did visit with 31 local cannabis businesses over the last few weeks, and I just wanted to hit some of the highlights that we were hearing. Overall, overwhelming positive response with the city regarding support and access to staff. Everyone was very complimentary on those efforts, so I wanted to point that out to council. We did hear from numerous locations that saturation was becoming an issue and that the 300-foot barrier between businesses was helpful. A majority of the businesses reported that their out-of-state sales made up a sizable portion. Some over half of their sales came from out-of-state purchases. And some of the biggest challenges that the industry is seeing is the restrictions on advertising, access to capital and banking, and competition from large out-of-state corporations. So just wanted to put that on council's radar. And lastly, while some of the stigma has gone from cannabis over the last year, there's still more education needed, and many of the places did point that out to us. Just a real quick timeline of where we are here in New Mexico. 2007, medical marijuana was approved. April of 2022, adult use cannabis was approved. Everyone knows the excise tax is 12%, will increase to 18 over a 5-year period beginning in 2025. And the city does receive 1/3 of the excise tax. So I'm going to run through some real quick statistics. Stop me if you have questions, or I will be available after the community development presentation on this. So roughly from April 22 through March 2023, the city of Las Cruces collected $830,000 in the excise tax for local funds. That averages out to about $69,000 per month. We've got a whole bunch of information on this slide here. Beginning on the upper left, there were 397 jobs posted in a variety of sources online for cannabis-related jobs throughout the state. 30 of those jobs were specific to Las Cruces, and 67% of those jobs were related to sales. You can see here that $534 million was collected, was total sales for the state of New Mexico. Medical sales was a little over $200 million. Adult use recreation was $330 million. And then you can see that Las Cruces was about $42 million in sales for the last year, with 58% of that accounting for recreational use. Per capita stats, so Las Cruces per capita about $382 on a yearly basis for individual purchases. Adult use recreational was about 222, medical was 161, and that leaves about $44 per transaction per person. On the chart over here on the right is just a breakdown of monthly sales for a variety of cities. Just to note, we did leave Albuquerque off this map because their sales are so much higher. You can see Las Cruces is averaging around $3 million a month. Albuquerque is in the 14 million range, so it kind of skews some of the data there. The months with stars indicate the highest monthly sales for that particular destination. You can see the highest month was April 22 of last year, but remained pretty consistent throughout the last 12 months. Over here on the left, we just have a visual representation of how many cannabis locations were reporting in April of 2022 versus April of 2023. And over on the right, we have statistics that are specific to Las Cruces and some surrounding communities. We started with about 15 locations reporting in 2022. We are up to about 48 reporting as of when this data was collected. We are about 70 in Doñana County right now, which is an increase of about 50 over the last year. And the statewide number is 558, an increase of about 327 over the last calendar year. This slide shows monthly sales ranging from, at the very top of the monthly sales all the way down to some of the lowers reporting. The data on the lower end could be as little as $20 per month, just pertaining to when the particular license reported to the state. But this shows the progression in the addition of licenses here in Las Cruces from April 22 all the way through April 2023. That's concludes my portion of the presentation. We can move on to community development, or if you guys have questions now, I can answer your questions now.
Any questions yet? Okay, no questions yet. Chris, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.